Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and this video here is going to be like a combination of my beginner's guide and FAQ for Dungeon Siege 2. What I'm going to do is basically give you like 20 to 45 bullet points of tips and tricks as well as frequently asked questions that I've seen online for Dungeon Siege 2. So this video is basically going to serve as like a beginner's guide or basically a podcasty version of an information dump for new players, for lack of a better way to put it. So the very first thing on the list of things to talk about is purchase spellbooks while you're leveling up, with good rolls on them specifically. When you say you have a level 30 character, it's only going to show you spellbooks that are relevant for that level 30 character. You can't get spellbooks that are like significantly lower level than the characters you have. So if you have like a hybrid character, like one of those nature or one of those Fist of Stone or Blood Assassins, or you're just multiclassing in general, like say you have a melee character but you just want to upgrade his spellbook at some point so it can have stats on it, I don't blame you. If you don't buy spellbooks when you're a lower level, you won't be at like, then you'll have to wait even longer for them to use the spellbooks that you can buy, and it ends up becoming a bit of a mess. So buy spellbooks early on. I recommend spellbooks that come with intelligence and a resistance, strength and resistance, dexterity and a resistance, or if you can get like a double roll that's halfway decent, like strength and intellect is good for Fist of Stone characters. It's also good for intelligence characters since raw strength gives you armor and life. It's a lot better than dexterity, which only increases your range damage. So really anything I would say with even something with mana regen isn't too bad. The only thing that I would recommend avoiding really is something with magic find on it, unless that's specifically going to be your magic find character. Then it will be a little more useful. But due to the way magic find works, which we're going to be explaining during this video as well. Well, actually, I'll explain it right now. The way magic find works is only the character with the highest magic find counts. So if you have a character with 200% magic find and you have a character with 175% magic find, you don't get 375% magic find. You get 200% magic find. The whole 175 magic find on the other character is completely useless. It only counts the character with the highest magic find. So specifically make a magic find character and roll with it. And that's what I do. Like my tank is actually my magic find character. He has I think like almost 200 magic find on him. Next tip, it would be number 3 now. Everything in the game that you can click on is shown as a blue dot on your mini-map and also on your map. This counts for everything. Items you can pick up, items like war pedestals, levers, buttons, shit that leads to a secret room, all of this stuff. Now, if you look at the screen right now and you can you tell me where the blue dot is if you're looking at it? Probably not, right? You got to like really squint at it like, what am I looking for, man? Well, it also shows it on your mini-map. Like if you look at the bottom right of my screen right now, you might be able to see the blue dot it's kind of directly west, and it's in the wall, kind of in the white line that makes the wall. And you can see right next to the wall there's an amber thread that I'm mousing over, and it should be flickering red and blue. So you can use the minimap just like that to find items that are on the ground, or if you're looking for that lever or button that leads into a crypt, or if you are in a dead end of a crypt and you're like, man, I know there's a secret door somewhere here. Just hit tab or hold tab, look at your map, look at your mini map, and you'll find a blue dot, and then that'll lead you to the object you're looking for. Alternatively, mouse over shit. Like just go up and down the wall, mouse up and down the wall. Anything that looks suspicious, just mouse over it. If it highlights, it means you can click it, which means it's going to lead to something. Now, tip number 4. I'll type out the codes for you since it's hard to pronounce them. Nauticus. This creates a silver ring, which comes with gold find as well as intellect. And you can also use I'm a little teapot, but it's spelled weird. It's spelled I'm a little teapot. And it creates a a chest piece, a ring, and a bow for you to use. These are very useful early on in the game. You can get a whole bunch of gold if you want by doing what I just did, creating the shit and then using transmute on it. Or you can use the items. Specifically the Nauticus code is very, very good because the rings come with 24 intelligence on them, along with the gold find, which is getting 24 intelligence at such a low level is phenomenally good, and you won't get it on any other rings whatsoever. If you don't want to cheat, so be it, but the option is there, and it's good for 15 to 20 levels. That's about it. And then you start phasing the gear out, and then it's really no longer worth using that cheat, or that cheat wouldn't benefit you anyway, regardless. Next tip. Tip number 5, I'm pretty sure. During each session, only a single copy of a set item or a unique item is going to drop. And this is my favorite part of the game when you can't click down a hallway. Anyway, sorry about that. Interrupted myself. And by session, I mean when you log out and log back into the game. So if you play through like the entire game and you don't log out, you're only going to see each unique and set item drop once. So if you're looking for a very specific set or unique item, you're in luck, because you can just leave your game on for like 2 or 3 days and just farm everything in the game. And then you'll most likely get your set or unique item to drop, because you're going to run out of drops sooner or later. So, tip number 6, mana steal and health steal work for spells as well as for regular attacks. So tip number 7, if you need extra storage, recruit a pack mule and raise it up to max maturity, and then just keep it in the inn. You can keep all your items on the pack mule, and it can just stay in the inn. You don't have to worry about it. I know the regular stash is quite small, so the pack mule is a good alternative if you run out of space with the regular stash. Alternatively, just download the mod that on Nexus mods that increases your stash size, because that'll fix the problem too. However, if you don't want to use mods, then the pack mule is the second best way. Tip number 8. Basically, everything stacks in this game. And by that I mean, if you look at, say, the ranged talents, you have this bleed talent, which causes enemies to bleed when you attack them. And then in Blood Assassin, you also have this shred blood talent, which causes enemies to bleed when you attack them. And then you also have this ignite blood talent, which causes enemies to bleed, and then that blood to just catch on fire and burn the shit out of them. You might wonder to yourself, like, well, do these stack? Especially the shred blood and bleed. Do they stack? Yes, indeed they do. And it's also worth mentioning that these bleeds will only apply on your target when you hit them with a physical attack. So they work a lot better on throwing weapon builds, because you have ricochet, which will hit multiple enemies with the same attack. So keep that in mind. Items with plus skills on them are some of the best items you can get for your character, and I will show you why. So look at my nature mage. She has +7, well, specifically her Kez rulership and her Elven Wedding Ring and her Endless Memory. All of these items come with both nature magic skills as well as combat magic skills on them. And thanks to that, I am able to get 7 points into every combat magic skill despite not spending a single point in any of them. So I can get 20% Summoned Alacrity, which is phenomenal. I can get Debilitation, which will increase the effectiveness of my curses if I wanted to use one. I can get Brilliance, which gives me 60% bonus mana. And I can get Quicken Casting, which gives me 12% faster cast speed. All for really no skill point investment whatsoever. The only thing I had to put 1 point into is Brilliance. That way I could unlock Quicken Casting. And that's the power of plus skills, specifically for combat and nature mages. But there's plus skills are pretty much the main things that will boost your overall effectiveness as your character. And it's like that for most ARPGs. This one is basically no different. Here's the that hallway that's hard to click through. Worst part of Dungeon Siege 2 is clicking through hallways or bridges and being able to traverse them. I do not know why it is so annoying. There's an actual tip for you that's not on my website. In order to make it through those hallways, when you can't click through them, try to click at the very, very tippy top of the hallway. Also, switch to the character that is closest to the hallway, so you can see more up, like see further up. Depending on what your current formation is, there's usually 2 characters that are in the front, and they'll be the ones you want to use when you're trying to navigate up a hallway. Tip number 10. Figure out which powers you want to use most on your character and unlock the highest rank you can of them first, then spread out your skill points to other skill trees. Every couple of days, tip number 11. Every couple of days when you're done playing, back up your saves for this game. You can't, there's no multiple save files. The only way that you can go back is if you back up your save. And there's a lot of bugs in this game that will be game breaking if you encounter that. Like if you save the game and exit when you're in the middle of some quests, you'll break the quest. And then you're basically stuck with no other option but to start over if that happens to you. And that's happened to me twice. And it's not very fun. I'll tell you that much right now. I'm pretty sure the game creates some backups too. It's something you'll be able to Google if it happens to you, but it's just useful advice anyway. Now tip number 12. Each time a magic item drops, there's a chance that an enemy with a name of 3 question marks will spawn. When you hit this enemy, he'll drop additional rare items, and he also has a chance of dropping unique and set items too. Also, when you defeat the enemy, he'll drop a mysterious activation stone in Broken World, or in the regular game, he will drop a mysterious token, I'm pretty sure it is, that will be used for access to an area with Easter eggs. Google search Dungeon Siege 2 Mysterious Quest, and you'll get all the information you want to know about that quest. So tip number 13. Corpse Transmutation, the combat magic ability, is great. Fantastic. It will boost your armor, and armor is like your lifeblood in this game. Armor decreases, I'm pretty sure, all incoming damage. If you mouse over armor in the character window, you can see higher armor reduces damage taken in combat. It doesn't say higher armor reduces physical damage taken in combat or higher armor reduces melee damage taken in combat. It says armor reduces damage taken in combat. So for that reason, I'm led to believe that it works on all damage types, but I cannot confirm that. I personally, when I play the game, I operate on the under the assumption that it only works for physical damage. So take that for what it is. Broken World, the expansion pack for this game, does not have any super annoying elevators, which means you can use pets on all of your characters without having to worry about getting stuck anywhere. It's wonderful. I hate those elevators in the original game. By far, the worst part of the game. That, and there's hallways that you can't navigate out of either. In my experience, monsters seem to aggro the player in your group with the lowest armor first. So if you have a healer, you can make them not the first target by buffing their armor value. If you have and I've actually tested this out too, because my nature mage was getting single targeted all the time. Everybody was rushing immediately for her, and I couldn't figure out why. And I realized she had very low armor, so I decided to buff her armor to increase her survivability. And then I noticed after I buffed her armor, everybody was going after Amrin instead, which is my blood assassin. And I was like, well, that's a little bit peculiar. And then I tested it again. I reduced the armor of another character, and everybody went after that character. So that kind of led me to believe they attacked the character with the lowest armor first. Multiclassing in this game, or actually I should say tip number 16. Multiclassing in this game is essential. Do it. There's so many great skills which you can get that are under all different skill trees. Like you got dodge and survival in ranged. You got Chant of Stone and Fist of Stone. You got reinforced armor, toughness, and fortitude in melee. There's just so many out there. that give you reasons to raise other specializations besides your main one. Now let's go through my FAQ for the game too. So first thing on the FAQ is how Magic Find works, and we've already explained that. The second thing is how to disband a character. So this is oddly hard in this game. Click on the character you want to disband and hit I to open up the inventory window. In the top hand corner, if you look at my screen right now, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. In the top left hand corner, you see disband this character. That's how you disband the character. It really is as simple as that. Apparently, you used to be able to do it another way, because when you Google about it, everybody says to look in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I have no idea what they're talking about. I can only find it in the upper left-hand corner right here. Disband this character. Now, what is the best build/class specialization in the game? It depends on what you want to do. Obviously, if you want a character that deals damage that is super duper tanky, I recommend Melee or Fist of Stone. If you want a character that just deals a shit ton of damage, I recommend Ranged or Combat Mage. And then you need to decide, do you want to deal a lot of single target damage, or do you want to deal a lot of AoE damage? Because if you want to do a lot of AoE damage, you want to do throwing weapons or lightning. If you want to deal a lot of let me back up a little bit there. Throwing weapons for ranged or lightning for combat magic. If you want to deal a lot of single target damage, then you'll want to do fire for combat magic and bow and crossbow for ranged. Also, you need to ask yourself if, usually it's not recommended to make a very versatile team. Like, you don't want to mix melee and ranged and mages. It would be a lot more effective if you just have like an entire melee team or an entire ranged team, or an entire melee/range team, because they would all deal physical damage and you would be able to benefit the most from that. If you mix match casters and shit like that, casters and melee and range, then you're not going to be able to get the most benefit out of all of your buffs and abilities that you use. To give an example, like Wrath of the Bear, it increases your critical hit damage, but I'm not sure it works on spells. I'm positive it works on physical attacks, but I'm not sure it works on spells. But there's other Wrath buffs and Spirit Embrace buffs that you can get, Embrace buffs that you can get that will increase magic capabilities, which obviously would not be that worthwhile to use if you have too many melee characters in your party. And it would be same vice versa. What is the best element for combat mages? Fire, lightning, or death magic? So I kind of went through this a little bit, but let's break it down a little bit more. Lightning is best for AoE DPS, fire is best for single target, and death magic is best for nothing. Or it's best for unlocking corrosive eruption. So the reason death magic sucks is because it has too high of a spread. And what this means is a lot of the death magic abilities, let me actually, I might have an impale spell on me or some, there we go, yes I do. Indeed I do, but I'm not going to have anybody that can use it, right? Of course not, because I don't have Finala with me. Something to look at, like let's look at my nature mage right here. Grasping Vine. As you can see, it has a very low spread, 6,453 to 7,887. So it's a little bit over 1,000 spread. If that was a death magic spell, the spread would be like 3,000. And that's why death magic isn't that good. The spread of damage that it deals is too high. And that makes it too random, which means it's just not that good. If you're using the Legends of Arana mod, that fixes that problem. It reduces the spread of death magic, which makes it probably the best magic in the game to use. What is the best build for melee? Dual wield, two-hand, tank. So, two-hand melee is best for crowd control and damage mixed together. It's kind of like ice magic for nature, since that's kind of like crowd control and damage mixed together as well. And so, two-hand, crowd control, damage mixed together. Dual wield is the best flat-out damage you can get for melee, in my honest opinion. Tank, that's obvious. Tank's tank. And dual wield also is good if you mix it with Fist of Stone. You'll notice my main character, my dwarf guy. He's a dual wield Fist of Stone character, and he kicks ass. And the main reason dual wield kicks ass for Fist of Stone is because of Quake and Tremor. So Tremor gives you a chance to proc, 30% chance to proc with each melee hit. Basically an AoE like Tremor on the ground that deals damage to all enemies around you. And with dual wield, it'll proc a lot more often, and that's great. Love it. What is better, bow or crossbow, or throwing weapons? So we kind of went over this already too, but we're just going to reiterate. Bow and crossbow is best single target damage, and throwing weapons are best AoE damage. Now, the reason this is because throwing weapons get ricochet, which allows your attacks to bounce around to additional targets. Bows get mortal wound, which gives you a huge critical hit damage boost. That's the reason that one's best for single target and one's best for throwing. Now, next question in the FAQ would be, will I get experience from killing an enemy if they are too low level? No. Also, you will not get experience from killing an enemy if they are too high level. If the enemy is more than 9 levels above or below you, it really messes with the amount of experience that you get from killing them. Do you get more experience from killing enemies your level? Yes. Should I multi-class my characters? Yes, we've talked about this earlier. You absolutely should multi-class your characters. If you don't feel like multi-classing early on, that's fine. Wait until like level 20 or level 30. Then equip a bow for a little while. Level up range to like 5 to 10. Then you'll be able to buy dodge and survival. Equip a melee weapon. Level melee up to like level 10. Buy some points into toughness and fortitude. And the list goes on. Combat magic, you can use a little bit of that. Nature magic, I recommend you actually raise on everybody. At least to level 10. Because you want as many characters with Resurrect as you possibly can get, because you never know who's going to die. And I don't really like Resurrect scrolls because they're only one-time use, and you have to constantly restock them. So a low-rank Resurrection is usually best to throw on everybody. It's also useful to have one character that can transmute and multiple characters that are able to do town portals. Should I get Fortitude, Toughness, Dodge, Survival, or Reinforced Armor on all of my characters? Yes. These are skills in both melee and ranged, and they're useful for basically every character in this entire game. I talk about this a lot more in my general purpose specializations video, and all of my class guides for Dungeon Siege 2. Another question is, what are Ancient Agalan tablets used for? So these are items that you'll get in the Broken World expansion pack. I'm pretty sure I got one on me. And these items are used to turn into the F&K Society for rare items. I'm pretty sure I already turned in the one that I found. But you get them in Broken World, and you can get really amazing items with them. Like this Traveler's Handbook that I got right here. This is, I have 2 of these spellbooks, and I use them throughout the entire game. And that's just one example of the items that you can get with an Agalan tablet. And the only other question that I can read to you here and give you a little bit of information and feedback on is, what are the best chants in this game? So this is, of course, going to be subjective as well. I'm a big fan of Greater Chant of Prosperity, which increases my magic find by 100% and my gold find by 200%. I'm also a fan of Chant of the Scholars, which increases the amount of experience I get by 50%. It also decreases my total HP by 20%. Chant of Casting is another one of my favorite chants because it gives me instant mana regen for the entire duration, which is phenomenal. And I am also a big fan of Chant of Power, which instantly recharges all of my powers for the duration of the chant. If you're using the improved incantations mod from Nexus mods, it will make all chants last for 30 minutes, which makes it literally breaks the game for Chant of Power, Chant of Casting, and Chant of Powers. Because you'll be able to spam your powers just endlessly, which makes you basically invincible, especially if you have invulnerability, and it makes you do just an insane amount of damage. So if you're going to use the that mod, I recommend you avoid the powers that break the game unless you specifically want to break the game. That's why I use Chant of Prosperity. Even with that mod, it doesn't break the game, and that mod just makes it better for basically like long term. or it's a quality of life mod is a better way to put it. And that's really all there is to it. Those are that covers my beginner's guide and my FAQ guide for Dungeon Siege 2. If there's any other things you think I left out, please leave a comment below so that other people can learn about it and figure it out. And if you have any comments about the video, please leave a comment below, of course. If you like the video, please like it. And if you would like to see other guides similar to this one, or if you would like to see a written version of this guide, please check out my website, almarsguides.com. You'll find the Dungeon Siege 2 guides in the computer section of my website. Anyway, that's all there is to it. Hopefully you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you around in another video. Peace.